Hi, welcome to my review of the 1992 Cadillac DeVille. We'll start with the exterior and then move our way towards the interior. Let's get started. So just for some background, I've been driving this car for a little over 2 years. I know all its pros, its cons, its quirks and features, and so we'll just start from the front to the back and talk about it. All right, so we will start under the hood. So this car is powered by a 4.9 liter V8 pushrod motor. It makes about 200 horsepower. And what I really like about this is that it is really torquey. It just comes off stop signs. Like it's like a magic carpet kind of. You roll around town. Super nice to just kind of come off a stop sign. And you don't have to rev it up. You just lightly press it and it just glides, But obviously being an old pushrod motor, 200 horsepower on the freeway, if you're going 50 miles per hour and you want to speed up to 60, it's like it takes a lot of effort. So it's good at low speeds for torque and stuff. All right, let's just look at this from right to left. So on the right over here, you have your washer fluid tank. Up here is going to be your wiper motor. And real quick with the wipers. So right now, I've had some issues with the delay on the wipers. It's very finicky. Sometimes it comes on, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, anyways, you have your wiper motor here. We'll touch more on that later about the wipers. Right here is going to be your brake fluid, and then here's your air box. Here's your radiator up front. Here is your oil gauge. Just pull this out, and obviously, I'm sure this is with most cars, but you want to let it settle, so let the car sit for 10-15 minutes, and then pull the oil stick out, wipe it off, put it back in, then pull it out again, and then you'll get an accurate oil read. Up here is your transmission fluid gauge. So to check this, basically you want to make sure the car's running and just shift through the gears a little while you're parked. Make sure it's a little warm, been driving it to get an accurate read on it. Over here is going to be your battery. Then over here is your engine coolant. Here's your belt and all that. Throttle cables are right here, so you can always yank on those if you're testing the engine or something. Yeah, there is a little light under the hood up here. I'm not sure if you can see that. There is a little light here that gave out years ago. I mean, good luck finding a replacement part for that, but it's a nice thing to have, but it's pretty lame little light anyways. It's not gonna make a huge difference. And yeah, that's just about it for up front under the hood. So this is a front wheel drive car, so you'll notice how the engine is mounted sideways to just power those two front wheels there. I do wish it was rear wheel drive. That would be nice, but a benefit is that, with the front wheel drive, you get better snow performance and everything. So, when it's a little slushy around here, a little snowy, you can definitely drive it in the snow. That's for sure. It pulls through. So the first weakness of this car that you'll see is this fender crack here. So this is on the other side too, not just this side. And this car, this model, this year, has a weak spot in the middle of this fender here that just causes it to crack. Because this is just very kind of brittle plastic, and you can see it cracked. And then we even tried to drill a hole to stop it, but it didn't stop. So it's right about down to here now. And I mean, it's minor. It's not a huge deal. And I know it's not just my car, because I talked to someone else who has a 1992 Cadillac DeVille, and they said that they also have these cracks. And you can look it up on the internet. It's a known thing, which kind of sucks. It's just a little aesthetic thing, but it doesn't look super nice. But it's not a huge deal. So, all right, well, we're up here by the front. Let's just talk about the wheels and the tires real quick. So, first of all, I would totally recommend getting a white wall tire for this car if you have a white car. I guess, duh. They make other colors of this car. But if you have the white version, get white walls, because it looks terrible with normal black wall tires of that sort. So I think this looks awesome. Nice, beautiful, clean, classic white wall. And so this car has calipers at the front and drum brakes at the back. So, not the best braking, but you get calipers up front at least. It's not some old station wagon with drum brakes everywhere. So Yeah. And of course, if you want to take the wheel off, the lug nuts are under this little hubcap here. Nice little Cadillac hubcap, so that's pretty nice. All right, another kind of weird thing about this car is that it actually does not have remote locks. So on the front passenger and driver doors, there's these little key slots, and just like the good old days, you put your key in, turn it, pull it out. And one thing that is super annoying, um, this is just an age thing. This car has 152,000 miles. The key takes kind of a lot of effort to pull out, and sometimes it gets stuck. And it might just vary with like the temperature or something like that. But some weeks, it's super hard to pull out, and then some days it works totally fine. So, and then you just click this little button and yank the door open, and there you go. All right, we'll move on to the back of the car now. So the back is honestly the most pretty part. I mean, I love these kind of vintage vertical tail lights, super nice. You got some nice chrome cursive stuff here. Um, Quick story, there's a little chip in the back here. Don't know if you can see that. There is no backup camera in this car. I backed into a pole at Chipotle, and I'm still pissed about it. And of course, these are very, very old pieces. This is just some stupid plastic bumper. You can't really find it anywhere. You could find it off a junkyard car, but you're not gonna be able to just go out and buy it, that type of thing. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, so you got some backup lights right here, right around the license plate. That's nice placement. I like it. Last time I did wash the car, though, there's a little paint chip here, which sucks. So, the paint's getting old. This car is over 30 years old. And then you got your little antenna here. This is actually motorized, so it can retract in all the way down and go back up like it is now. Our motor is broken, so unfortunately it does not work, but it's kind of cool. I actually like it up. I think it looks cool up. It's a little vintage. Yeah, one thing, even though there is no backup camera, obviously, you have this nice big rear view. It offers a pretty solid rear view of the car when you're backing up, so it's not really a huge deal. I'm used to it. And then to open the trunk, you have this little Cadillac emblem here, and you might say, oh, where's the keyhole? Where do you open it? Well, you just push it to the side, it latches open, then you put your key in, the same one that we used to open the doors over there, and then you turn to the right, and boom. And so just a little bit about this, there is a trunk motor here. So basically when you close it, you don't need to slam it, nothing like that. You just gently click down the lid, and then the motor will close it all the way and seal it, which is super nice. I have had a few issues with it. It's a little finicky sometimes. Sometimes, you'll close it and it just won't latch and it won't start the motor. So then you just gotta, try it again and whatnot. And quick story. So a little bit ago, it was pretty cold outside. Like the trunk seal had kind of frozen a little bit. So I go to open my trunk, and I click it open, and the motor runs, but it doesn't open because it's frozen. So I put my fingers under there to try to lift up the trunk and open it, and the motor ran again, and it started latching back down on my fingers. Motorized trunk coming down my fingers. So I'm here like, ah. And it hurt really bad. Luckily someone was there though. And it took them a little bit. I told them that the keys out of my hand, because they were still like on one of my fingers while I was trying to lift it up. And so they were able to undo the trunk. But yeah, watch out if you have this car, because this trunk motor will betray you and try to kill you. So over here we got some inner trunk padding and everything. It's not super high quality. It's kind of falling apart. It's a little old, but just some basic trunk padding. And this whole kind of stereo system that you see back here is not stock at all. We do have a custom stereo system installed here. My dad did that when he owned the car. So there's a DSP and an amplifier back here and a bunch of wiring and stuff. So that's definitely not stock. There's also another amplifier kind of tucked behind this trunk padding over here. So there's that. And Yeah, under this trunk padding, there is a spare tire and a jack and anything that you need to, put a little spare tire on down there. So got some like under trunk storage, which is nice if you need to fit some like spare food. Or I think there's enough room for some like MRE ration packs, that type of thing. All right, so I'll just give a little handheld tour of the interior here. So let's just start off. First of all, this radio is not stock. This radio is a Kenwood one that we installed as part of the stereo system. So just to get that out of the way, not stock. What else? Oh, yep. Okay, so this door speaker here is also not stock. This is a custom installed little door speaker here, so that is not stock. Let's just look at this on the door though. So right here we have all our seat controls. So you have your, back and your tilt and everything like that. And then the windows, some nice switches here, your mirror controls. And so on the doors, actually what you'll notice is this, if you click it on the top here, this is a button. If you click it on the top, it unlocks. If you click on the bottom, it locks. So this locks every door in the car, and that is the case with every door. So every door has this button. Every door can lock each door and everything. And then, you got your little pull handle to open it. You push it open, and then a little handle to pull it closed. Nice and fancy. And then what we have over here, so let's just go from left to right. So over here is the light switch. So when the key's not in the car and you turn the lights on, it's going to beep at you because, you don't want to leave it on while you walk away and everything because it'll drain the battery. So you'll notice you pull it out once and it is beeping, and that's going to be the fog lights. You pulled out once. If you pulled out even more, these are going to be your main headlights that you have and everything. So no, it does have an automatic headlight thing. It's kind of a weird camera angle. It does have automatic headlights. I don't really use them. I just prefer to do it on my own because it's not that big of a deal. But if you like automatic headlights, it does have a Twilight Sentinel is what they call it. So yeah, you have that. Right here is your turn signal switch. So, classic. It's very clicky, very nice. If you push this thing right here, so if you just you push on it with your thumb, that's going to spray the windshield with your washer fluid. So your cruise control here is going to be off and on. So when it's on, nothing's going to happen. You'll be driving a certain speed, and then you click this side button right here. So you click on this, and that will activate your cruise control at whatever speed you're at. I hardly use cruise control, just my personal preference, but so I'm not like a master at it in this car by any means, but yeah. Then your wiper controls, you're basically going to rotate this whole thing. So once you hear it click once, you're in the delay mode, and then if you rotate it closer to you, that's going to make the delay longer, and this is going to make the delay shorter, and then you click it once up here, and you get high wipers, and then once more, and that's the highest setting it can go. Just super fast wiping. So yeah, and real quick, my issue with the wiper, the delay just wouldn't work. So I'd either have to be on off or high, which is like super annoying. So I'd constantly have to click it between off and high and time it so the wipers would be like not in the middle of the windshield, so they would be at the very bottom. And it's been working lately, so it's kind of finicky. Again, the car is old and stuff, but yeah, the wipers have been kind of finicky. They've been working all right recently. So down here we have the fuel data center, and this is basically just some little buttons. Over here it's going to show your fuel that you have left in the tank. This is an 18-gallon tank. And then over here you're going to see data like how much fuel you've used. I actually find that, so this car, even though it says how much fuel is left in the tank, I find that it's not super accurate since it's not a gauge, it's like a digital reading. So I usually go by the fuel used because I find that's a lot more accurate. So I just subtract however much this says from 18. Then you can also click this button to get your average fuel economy. I find that this car in the city gets around 11 to 12 miles a gallon, but if you're driving on the freeway a lot, you can get 13 to 16 average on a tank. So it's not horrible, but it's not good. It's a V8, old V8. Yeah, and it does say premium unleaded fuel here, but we've been filling it up with 87 like its entire life. It works totally fine. Don't worry about filling it up with more expensive fuel. You're just going to waste your money. It runs fine. Here, why don't I go ahead and actually turn on the battery so you can see the little display here. So it is like a green display, just like this. I like it. I really like the digital dash, personally. I like it a lot more than a gauge. You got your little warning lights up here and everything. It'll say change oil soon, even if you just change your oil. I think you have to reset it in the computer somehow. Just too lazy to do that, so haven't done that. But it'll give you a lot of warnings up there. More warnings can happen down here at the information center. Some little lights will come on and stuff like that. Then you got your climate controls over here. So you got your window defroster, which doesn't work super well. You got your back window defroster. You can see the outside temperature. And you can set it to cooler, warmer. I just keep it on auto most of the time, and then you can just cooler, warmer, whatever you want. And yeah, the air conditioning in this car is awesome. I will say that. You know, you turn the car on instantly, cold air, it's just rushing at you. I mean, it's super, super good air conditioning, so that's a huge plus. Super nice. These little speakers up here, these little baffles, these are not stock at all. We used to have tweeters in this car, but then my dad removed them, so these are just kind of empty holes here. Same with this dash right here, not stock. These are speakers right here. One more thing, you also have window lock right here. So this just locks all the passenger windows if you turn it on. No one else can roll down their windows. So I like to use that on my brother sometimes when he's being annoying. All right, we'll just move over to the passenger side over here. A little more space to film and everything. So of course you got your glove box. It does have a lock. And here you'll find there are trunk and fuel door controls. So the battery does have to be on to do this. Like if I press it right now, nothing's gonna happen. The trunk is not open. Same with the fuel door. So you just click these buttons to operate those when the battery's on. The fuel door you cannot open unless you click this button. Of course, the trunk does have that key that we looked at earlier, so it's got that going for it. Decent sized glove box. Just keep some crap in here. Then, of course, classic 90s fashion. You got your cigarette lighter up here and your ashtray. Pretty sweet. And then this center bench here. So this is a bench seat. You can roll it up, get another somewhat thin person up here, if you can fit them. Little dainty cup holders. It's a little plastic thing. They're actually pretty good for soda cans and small water bottles. Of course, most modern water bottles are pretty dang big, so they don't really usually fit in here. And then you got your little space in here. I just keep like an ice scraper and some other stuff. So nice little center thing. I like this. Oh, also your hazards are right here. They're kind of weird. You got to like push it in and then pull it out to turn on your hazards. It's this little kind of funky button up in there. Moving to the back seat. It's quite spacious. Very, very comfy seats, I will say. You've got some behind the seat storage here. So this is where I usually put my water bottle since, like I said, it doesn't really fit up there. Not too much back here. You got another little center console here. This is just for this kind of bass speaker back here. There used to be stock. There is a speaker back here, but we took that out when we were doing a custom stereo system. So usually just leave this up. Of course, you got middle seat for 3 people back here. Pretty nice. And let's look at the doors real quick. So yeah, on the doors you got these little ashtrays and cigarette lighters for each person, of course. Very nice. All right, now we're gonna go for a drive. All right, we're now going for a little drive. That muffler must be old because those revs sounded a little mean, to be honest. A little nasty. So, yeah, my dad has said that it feels a little loud to him, so probably some old mufflers, but let's see, we're gonna head out over onto this road. Honestly, I don't know if the muffler would fix this either, but the engine noise, like from the front, like feels awfully loud in my opinion. I don't know why, but acceleration is just like pretty loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Honestly, the AC is kicking butt right now. It feels really nice. And my fuel gauge is working, which is awesome. So psyched about that right now that I can actually read how much gas I have. And this car, you got to remember, it's an old Cadillac, right? It rides like a total boat. I mean, it's just so comfy going down the road. You go over a bump and it's like whoop 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 whoop. I mean, it's like a boat. Like, they don't make suspensions like this anymore, you know. This car was just, you know, honestly made for cruising down the freeway. But what I have noticed recently is, and this definitely isn't good, but there's definitely been like, there's kind of a shake above about 60 miles an hour. Like, there's like a like a vibration in the like steering wheel and just kind of the whole thing, which, you know, I don't love, but it's an old car. I don't know. Should probably get it checked out. Yeah, this car is just a cruiser, man, and these seats are so comfortable. I mean, never sat in more comfy car seats than these. The brake pedal does feel just a little mushy, though, is one thing I will say. Like, yeah, the brakes stop you, like I said, drums in the back, calipers in the front, but, you know, they're not confidence-inspiring brakes, right? They're pretty, and the steering on this car is super duper light. Like, you know, you can drive with one finger, right? I mean, the steering wheel is just super nice to steer. Definitely love that about it. And, you know, with the torque in this car, of course, like, you know, when you put your foot down, you do get some power. I mean, I've definitely spun the wheels a couple times just putting it down. It's definitely, it can be unsuspecting, you know. For such a old boat, you really can get pretty good power. Old V8s rip, man. Whoa, that was dangerous. Dude, some guy on like some little e-bike was just ripping it around this tight corner, like knee almost touching the ground. God, dude. So one thing also, when you're going around corners, the car just rolls so much. Like, obviously it's not like a sports car, but I mean, the body is just rolling, man. Another thing, these headrests behind me, like, if you get rear-ended, you're screwed, man, because they're like so far back. Like, if I were to rest my head on them, I'm all the way over here. Like, I'm all the way leaning back, and so you could get whiplash pretty easily. It's a pretty bad design, but that's the 90s for you. So another great thing about this car is the gas pedal is very comfortable to rest your foot on. So, you know, you're just cruising on the freeway or whatever, like, it's very comfortable to rest your foot on. It's not like too light where if you just relax, you know, you're gonna give it too much gas. It's perfect. Like, you just, like, totally relaxed wherever your foot is. That's, you know, you're giving it however much gas you're putting down. It's really nice. One thing that I've noticed actually about the engine is it runs better like off of a cold start. So like first start of the day, first drive of the day, it's super, like, it's driving super nice. Very smooth. But I noticed, like, maybe if I start it like the third time in the day, it idles very rough, and it's kind of like a rough start, and it just seems to run a little more like volatile. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching my review of the 1992 Cadillac DeVille. I'll see you next time.